Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Francis. Up top with me is Michelle. How are you today, Michelle?
I'm good. Not necessarily my favorite episode, but also, can we talk about what an underwhelming hall brawl that was?
Yes, we can and we will. It was I barely even watched, unfortunately.
It was giving me
like,
Amber versus Amber hall brawl. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it was just pointless to watch.
Well, hall brawls are only, in my opinion, good is when the two people are equally matched in physicality and they have a beef. It's just I want to see this match go, them going at it because they hate each other or whatever. But we will talk about that later on. Matthew is also here with a fresh new look. How you doing, Matthew?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we got 7 weeks of production handpicking partners, but we couldn't wait 2 days to do a hall brawl. So that's always fun.
I'm not exactly sure why they needed to have it right. Go ahead.
They could have easily. They obviously have the other a chance. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, hall brawls this soon. I'm just kind of like, who cares? Who cares? But we were right. So if you didn't figure it out by now, we're talking about the Challenge USA. I think this was episode 8. Yeah, episode 8. We also learned, or I learned anyways, that we're going to be going till episode 12 on the second to last episode. It's like a 2-parter. So on the 14th, it will be a double episode. So we have 3 more weeks of the show left, it seems, which is fun because we were worried that it might be shorter. So we do have a pretty full length season, which is fun. We do have some friends here hanging out. Hi, Jelly Donut. So Jelly Donut says so. Derek X casually being in 3 shows in 1 year. I'm so proud to watch him and Claire. You know what he's going to be on next.
No. Snake in the Grass?
Derek X.
He'll be on Snake in the Grass soon.
Maybe later, but
I don't know what he's on next. What is he on next?
He's going to be on The Amazing Race with Claire.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
I don't really watch Amazing Race, so I don't.
Oh, fair. But
that's so funny.
All over the place, yeah.
How actually, I'm thinking of Big Brother now, but how Nicole was like, Amazing Race. Anyway, sorry. That's
probably why. I think, was it rumored before they went in? I think it might have been already rumored that they were going to be on before she went on Big Brother. It might have been. I'm not sure. Hall brawl is so overused, it's boring to watch these one-sided matches. Facts. Hi, Sophie. Thank you for being here. So we're finally at the single stage of the competition. So we kind of all guessed that we're going to go from the algorithm down to an individual game. How do we feel about it now that, we predicted it, but how this episode kind of turned out?
So, I mean, I like the individual game in theory. What I don't like is the single gender eliminations. It just, to me, it makes the whole daily or half the daily pointless to watch. Like, to me, it doesn't matter who gets into power for the most part, or at least like the stakes are way lower when you're only voting one gender into the elimination. And then in a case like this, where you get a hall brawl and it's one of the classic eliminations, and it turns out to be a horrible matchup, you don't get that other matchup where there's 2 women going in. And if they did individual, but both genders go into elimination, we're probably looking at Desi versus Sarah tonight, which would have been epic. Because Desi got disqualified, didn't make the jump. Right. Sarah potentially would have volunteered.
Or Cayla as well.
But they dropped at the same time, so I think they would have had to have the 2 of them redo it or something.
Or
and whoever does faster to the 2 of them. Because they both fell right away. Yeah,
I thought Cayla made it onto. I thought Cayla made the jump and then slipped off because of the soap, and Desi just didn't make the jump at all. But maybe I missed that.
I wasn't judging it completely because I didn't even think about this.
Yeah, but like regardless, I mean, when you know it's only a one gender going into the elimination, to me it takes away half the fun of the episode. So that was my fear coming into the individual game. I was hoping it would just be individual, but 2 eliminations, and we kind of got the other way there. So not too happy about that.
Yeah, I think what they're gonna do, like, just females next week, and then the week after that it'll have to be both, because, or like they'll have to do a purge or whatever they're gonna do, because there's just not enough weeks left. I agree with you. It's more exciting to have both. But I will also say, like, for someone like Sarah, the only female not having enough money, the stakes were very high for her to win this. And she was super close to winning it. And if she had won with Ben, it would have likely been a different outcome, or could have been a different outcome. I'm not saying it would have been, because we do see Ben say, like, I need to work with Tyson. So maybe not, but like it could have changed things. So it was really important for Angela to win this one to be able to solidify some stuff, as we see. So
we
there's
do
that
see
element.
Ben,
but yeah,
and
it would have been more exciting.
we do see Ben and Danny talking about, not wanting to go head to head, those two. Neither of them have won any money. And like you said, Michelle, like Ben feels like he has to work with Tyson, and they're going to be Survivor strong at this point. But Danny says that he's ready to go against his allies. So Danny wants to go against his allies in Survivor. He doesn't care. He just wants to get that money. And Ben also wants to run with Tyson in the final. He wants to beat him in a final. Do you think that is the optimum strategy for Ben here, is to win a daily and come and beat Tyson in a final?
It's such
strategy.
a Ben thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Like him wanting to go into that Fyre challenge to like do it the hard way. Like that's his whole MO. So I wasn't surprised, but of course it's terrible gameplay. Like, Tyson's going to beat you in the end.
But I mean, not you.
You don't know, but you're more likely to. What?
I said, I don't think he thinks so. I do think he believes that he will beat Tyson in the end, which I think is interesting, because it's like Tyson has shown already that he's more well-rounded than you, Ben, because he's won more times and come close more times than you have. So how do you figure that you're going to be able to beat him when he's been doing so much better than you this whole season? Curious. So Desi, at one point, there was a whole group of them together saying this is kind of like making the merge and kind of teaching David about what it means to make, this is what it feels like. It's like, of course it's what it feels like. Making it to a landmark, or like a jury in Big Brother, like, you can't figure that out, David. It's just, sometimes I was rooting for him, and then he's
made
like
it to jury before.
I know. I don't know.
He's made it to jury.
I know, but I don't know why he...
I was secretly hoping he was going to get thrown in this week, but I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I was secretly just hoping.
I think David versus Enzo would have been actually not a horrible matchup, but definitely more exciting.
And they're friends. So it's like, how is Enzo going to go right through him? Is David, because he's not as tall and maybe as scrappy as Enzo, but he's a little bit sturdy. And so I could see him maybe having a little bit more like a brick wall that he has to get through, which could be a little bit more challenging. So that would have been a more interesting matchup. I agree. So Sarah's the only girl without being qualified, and she's like so excited, like maybe it's gonna be a hall brawl. And I'm just like, go ahead.
No, just her whole energy this episode once again. We'll get to like her craziness later, but like just the way she speaks, I don't know what she's trying to provide. I feel like she's trying to perform when she speaks on the show. And like she's trying to deliver this thing that she thinks is going to be an interesting character. I don't know. It's not landing.
Yeah, Sarah's getting an absolutely horrible edit this whole season.
Yeah.
Like they're making her look crazy.
Yes.
There must be something going on. Like someone in production
doesn't like
sees what we see. They don't like her. And she's not getting that kind of mastermind edit. She's getting like a very bitter edit. Like she's continuously, this episode especially, continuously going off on Angela, saying that Angela hasn't proven herself. Meanwhile, I think at this point, Angela, of all the women, has probably proven the most, and Sarah has clearly proven the least. She's the only one not qualified. So the fact that they're kind of showing Sarah shoot herself in the foot, it's quite fun to watch. And I know people in the comments a few weeks back some people didn't like how we were very negative about Sarah and Ben. I will say, I don't think this was a horrible episode for Ben.
No, it was a good one
Obviously
for
a lot of
him.
emotional content there, which was nice to see. I don't know, strategically, like not great, but yeah, Sarah, horrible episode. Ben, decent to good episode.
Agreed. I do need to just throw it
Yeah.
in there about Sarah. So yeah, last week we were talking about whether or not we would rather see Sarah on a season of the challenge over Fessy. And I have to say, people did vote. And so out of 76 votes, Sarah Lacina did receive 61% of the votes saying that they would prefer her to be on the challenge over Fessy. And then I also asked, because I forgot that it was Fessy and I was thinking it was Zach, who do we like better on as a challenger, Sarah Lacina or Zach? And again, 61%, and that's with 89 votes, prefer Sarah Lacina over Zach Nichols. So
okay,
Matthew,
there's hope for humanity. There's hope for humanity. That percentage should have been higher, though.
Yeah, for the record, I do prefer Sarah over Zach. I prefer Fessy over both. Though.
Yeah.
Then
That's fair because I prefer Fessy over Zach. For me, it's like, yeah, I would say it's Sarah, Fessy, Zach for me if I had to put them in a.
And that's like really if you're in a jam. Like I don't know what circumstances we'll need to put them in that order, but that's how it would be for me as well. Definitely.
Yeah.
So we see the time clock in the 3:30 a.m. and I'm like, is Leo leaving again? Like, what's happening here? But it actually was kind of a touching moment. We see that Ben was pacing and he, wasn't able to sleep because it was the anniversary of his Marine friend's death. And so you were saying kind of in the beginning, like, oh, this is a Ben heavy episode. And it really was already. Like, you could see that, like, Ben was going to be the center of this episode, especially with this time code late night moment. But then we're right into the daily. So I thought that there would be a little bit more, but right into the daily. Did we catch the name of it? I didn't. Was it something witty?
Slip and slide? I don't know. I never pay attention to the names. This is why I would never win a game like Big Brother because I don't never remember names of competitions. Like that's
but
like
you have
I don't
nothing
even think
else
about
to do. Like what else are you doing
fair.
all day long but study? Especially if you hate somebody, you're just like, okay, I want to study so I don't have to talk to you. So
true. And if I didn't have any weed as well, that also would help probably.
Yeah, you would definitely be like studying so you can not be bored. I'm trying to find it though. It was called, I believe, Having a Blast. Really? Yeah, okay. Having a Blast. Having a blast. Yeah, it could have been a lot better, but I guess the blast was the other people blasting them with water.
No one blasted anybody. Nobody blasted.
Just, like, cleared away the soap. So basically they have to jump from a Zodiac, which I guess is that little like motorized tugboaty thing, onto a pathway. I don't know. What do you call that? Yeah, I guess path. That's slippery with soap. And then run to the side and grab keys. You have to do 4 keys and then a flag. And while other people are blasting them with water. But it just seems like the water was just to clear off the soap. It was so much easier to run on. Yeah, what do you guys think of this daily?
Yeah, it seems like a pretty easy daily. I mean, once you made the jump, it seems like everyone just got through it with ease. There was no real struggle there. And again, with the lower stakes, and I know you mentioned, Michelle, like for Sarah, there were stakes for the women, but for all the other women, no real stakes there. So didn't care too much for the daily. It was kind of just waiting for that one to be over.
I have a question because I must have missed this part. How did they get to decide who was doing the spraying for each partnership? Like, how did they get to pick themselves? Because it seemed like there was like Sarah with Ben and Angela with Tyson.
Oh, I didn't realize it was Sarah with Ben. Was it? No, I thought that
they were up at the same time.
Like who was?
And I just felt like because they were all helping each other, and I just thought like, how did these like get decided? Because they didn't really show it, or I missed it,
It seems like they picked because just based on the matchups, I think that makes
and Leo being alone. Oh, and then it was Desi, so never mind. I don't know. I don't know.
It seems as though like like maybe it was the male and female. Was it male, like with the male and female going down? Because I thought like after Tyson went, then the next time he was spraying. So I don't know. I just
Yeah,
think
they
that maybe
swapped. They swapped. So it was like Angela spraying it for him, and then when she went, he was spraying it for her. So like it was like the two guys going and the two girls
I don't know if
spraying.
they picked that because Dom was with Tyson. So
Well,
he was just
exactly. That's
kinda
my
like,
point, is that it didn't really make sense, but some of the matchups I was like, oh, like Angela and Tyson are going to help each other. You know what I mean? Like there were some that I was like, these people will help, and then other ones that I was like, these seem random. But I will say the one thing about the challenge that I was like, oh, was like Leo was so close to winning. So for him to have what happened with this episode is just that much more disappointing, because this is a challenge that like he magically was really good at, and if he had won, it would have changed the trajectory of the game at this point. Like nothing that happened this game strategy wise would have happened.
it's
I
very
don't think
true.
in the same way, because
Very-
Angela
so
wouldn't have been able to talk to Ben in that way. Anyway,
what do you think would have who do you think he would have thrown down?
Well, he
Well,
would have
if
wanted
it
to put
would've-
Tyson in.
yeah, he would have wanted to put Tyson in, but him being with Angela, that wouldn't have happened. So I don't think it would have been that, but they probably would have thrown in David or something like
I
that.
actually-
I
I
don't
don't-
think she would have thrown David
Who
with
would she
Angela
have thrown
there.
in? Who would she have
She,
thrown
I
in?
don't
though?
think-
Because she said she wants to work with the Survivor guys, or
but
do you
she
think
thinks that she's still being protected by the Big Brother guys.
But like, who would she have thrown in then?
I
'Cause
think
there's
they
nobody
would have
else.
put in Dom or Danny.
Even for Enzo, yeah, I guess it just would have been like, okay,
Well, it would have been Ben down there. So Ben would have probably not Ben down there. Who
No.
else sucked? Who else
it was
sucked?
Enzo.
Sorry. All right.
Enzo
sorry.
still would have
Never mind.
lost.
Enzo would have wanted someone that he could beat. So he would have probably said no to David. Because it seems like they were trying to give him sort of somebody that he could beat and get some
But-
money from. So
Who would he have beaten though? Who else would he think that he could beat?
he thinks he could beat Tyson in a hall brawl. A lot of people
I
think
agree. I agree. Yeah, but do you think?
But
that
Angela
but
wouldn't
Angela
do
wouldn't
it.
have no.
Exactly.
I don't think
So
that they
maybe
would have
Dom.
thrown in.
Yeah, I think Dom,
Maybe
because Angela wouldn't be as incentivized to work with the Survivor guys if they weren't in power. So it would
Yeah.
have
That's true.
would have been a little easier to just throw in Dom.
Dom versus Enzo, it would have been a little bit better.
I think Dom would have taken it.
I think Dom would as
with
well.
Enzo being injured as well. I think someone bigger with more mass, like Enzo, wouldn't have been able to break through. Leo's pretty small. Like I could have broken through him probably. Actually, probably not. I take that back. I wouldn't have been able to.
Maybe you're
I have
a
no
lot taller
strength.
than him. But you're
Yeah.
taller, so you'd been able to just like kind of like
Climb over.
exactly and just keep running. So we got some people joining us. So Danita's also here. Taylor is here. He said he has watched more seasons of The Amazing Race compared to Big Brother and The Challenge. Claire has him prepared. I mean, I think the Amazing Race, for someone like Claire and Derek X, I think that they could do a good job because they can strategize in the moment and you don't need to know the strategy of like the whole game and like have a game mindset. I think that they could excel and know how to use their strengths there. So I think that they could do really well and I'm definitely going to be rooting for them. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I might actually watch the season.
Yes, watch it. So
Because
it's
if I
gonna be
know
so
them,
good.
that's cool. Yeah.
So we see the first matchup. It's Ben versus Enzo. Ben, of course, wants to win it for his friend on the anniversary. So hoping to kind of channel in some of that loved one energy. And so Ben wins that round. And Enzo, you know, he didn't do badly. He finished, but Ben beat him that round. Next up was Sarah and Cayla. Cayla DQ'd, unfortunately. So Sarah won that heat. So Angela does say, I think it was a confessional saying that she's been keeping her distance from Sarah. And I understand that, like, Sarah's not really that great to be around. And so I find it really interesting. At the end of this episode, we hear that Leo being like, he only likes Sarah and like Desi and Cayla. And I'm like, what, do you like Sarah? Like, what's happening? Sarah actually really doesn't like you.
Yeah, but I think he's kind of gullible in that way of like, she's never gone against him, right? Because she hasn't had power. They won an elimination together and she was like pissed at Tyson. even though she had made up afterwards with Tyson, but like he doesn't know that. So I think he sees her as like an ally after he got screwed by everyone else kind of vibes, which like he did, but also like I can't help but think if James was still here and was in this position that he could have found a way out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I just think
so.
his bonds were better. He knew the people better. He knew how to play that social aspect of the game. And I think he could have gotten someone else thrown in. So, like, maybe not, but I think he would have had a better opportunity to, just because I trust his abilities more. Like, we didn't see, like, Leo, there's conversations he could have been having, and James would have been continuing to have conversations up until this point to try to protect himself, like made, deals and stuff.
So yeah, Angela definitely has been keeping her distance, but she also says it's fine to have a target, which is really true. Like, you can't be friends with every single person in one of these social strategy games. And so are they preparing us for a Sarah versus Angela, or is that going to be in the final? Like, what
no,
is...
I don't think it's going to be the final. I think it's going to be next week. I think
I agree.
It's boiled enough and they're ready to pop off. And I think next week, with it being the women only elimination, whichever side of the house wins the daily is just going to go straight after the head of the snake. And if Angela or Alyssa win, Sarah's going in, which honestly, Sarah's going to want to go in anyways, but they'll try to get Sarah in, or I guess it's whoever comes in last. But if Sarah's side wins, they're going to throw in Angela or take the shot at Alyssa to weaken Angela. I don't think they'll go for the middle women. Like, I think Cayla is pretty safe. Justine, Cash,
unless
I think
she
are
loses.
safe. Yeah, unless one of them loses the daily.
Yeah,
but I think it'll happen before the final.
Exactly. And I'm crossing my fingers for Queen Angela because I have 2 people left in my draft, and she's the only person that can actually win the entire thing.
Who's the other person?
Dom. So she's my only person that can. Yeah. I'm saying, like, yes, but he's not going to win the entire thing. I will be shook if he does, and I'll be happy. But how happy will I be? I'll be happy for myself.
Slightly happy.
Slightly.
At this point in the season, from everything we've seen, I'd be pretty shocked if Angela was on the losing side of that battle. I think Angela will outlast Sarah in the game, whether they both make it to the end. Yeah, it would be pretty surprising with like Angela getting a pretty solid edit and Sarah getting a horrible one if Sarah was gonna take out Angela. Mm-hmm. So I do think maybe Angela takes the shot and it misses, and Angela still does better than her in the final. But I do think Angela will finish better than Sarah overall. Yeah. And I hope so as well.
I hope so, and I think so as well, for sure. So Tyson and Dom are the next duo, and we see in the confessionals, like, Tyson's like, Angela is the greatest ally he's ever had playing any season in any of these games. And that says a lot. I think it's because she's able to protect him. Most of these games, like, he's kind of had to be like for himself, or he had to be like the strongest one out of the alliance, like winning things or strategizing. And so I love them as a duo. I think that they're great.
Yeah. And it's cool to see because she's that perfect balance of like, she's winning a lot so she can protect him. Even when she's not winning, she's doing things to protect him and help. And she's very clear about helping him, but she's also not being so in your face obvious about her alliance. Like, she's having other conversations. Mm-hmm. She keeps herself socially pretty on the down low. Like, she's not really making any social strategic mistakes that I've seen, at least. Which, I mean, I'm super impressed with her compared to what I saw in Big Brother. Like, she's way better for this game, and she's killing it.
So Tyson and Dom are going to be spraying, Angela, and who was Angela with?
Cayla.
Cash.
Yeah.
So he's like, so Dom, let's make sure that we get like spray off all like the soap. And Dom doesn't really want to do it, but he doesn't want to be on Tyson's bad side. And he's like, well, Angela will protect us. Like, let's just like give her a little bit of a leg up. And so I find it interesting that like easily they were the contestants gamed this, right? It was supposed to be like, oh, you're going to like push people off and get people DQ'd. But really it's like, actually, we're going to make it less slippery for our friends to win. So I thought it was a little bit of a misstep on production to be having this as something that's supposed to be a hindrance, and it seemed to have been a help.
Yeah, I agree.
So Sarah thinks that Angela has not has had an easy road and that she hasn't proven herself. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Hard disagree.
I mean,
She's done nothing but
Angela's
prove herself.
won. She's won 3 dailies, I believe, maybe
Oh, yeah.
4, 3. So yeah, I mean, she's won 3 dailies. She's been controlling the house with Tyson strategically. Hasn't really faced any adversity because she's been so dominant. And nobody's taken a shot at her because, I mean, she's a physical specimen. So the 4 times she's been eligible to go into elimination, nobody's taken the shot. I think it's pretty clear that she's a dominant force in the house. So I think Sarah is a little bit jealous.
Jealous,
so
and like Angela has not done anything strategically volatile in her social game, right? So she gives no extra reasons to throw her in, and all she does is give reasons to keep her and work with her to anyone she speaks to that I've seen. So it's like, yeah, Sarah's clearly jealous. It's the same thing with Ben being jealous of Tyson. Ben is just a little more, he's a little more genuine about his feelings, where it's like, he bugs me a lot, but maybe it's also the edit of this episode, but like the way he feels is true. Do you know what I mean? The way he is just like, this is his viewpoint. I don't agree, but like he has his story, and him saying like, oh, I want to beat the best person in the end. It's like, I like that because then I have a higher chance of having Tyson and like people that I like in the end. But strategically, I think he's very weak.
Absolutely agree.
But he's less, it's easier to not like dislike him as much as Sarah because we see these redeeming qualities, and maybe the show is just not showing us that with Sarah because obviously, as you're saying, like she's getting a pretty bad edit. I'm like, there's no way she's just this. She obviously is other things as well. Probably has some better qualities. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure they exist. You know, there's a lot of people who've said on podcasts and stuff that they really like her.
Mm-hmm.
And they really like James really respect, like there's people that really like her, and obviously people aren't going to slam her or anything like that, but there's got to be some good decent qualities. I just wouldn't want to play with her, but like, you know,
I think the thing about Sarah through all of her shows is she seems like she's a great person to people that she thinks she can control. And for players around her that are uncontrollable or don't fall for her mist, then there's the issue. So with someone like Angela, Tyson, like they're not falling for her bullshit, but other people like the Love Island girls, for example, who have come out and said like, oh, I loved Sarah, like she was cool, she was nice to us. I think Sarah looked at them as numbers to go against the people that were not onto her bullshit. And that's kind of a reoccurring thing with Sarah over multiple seasons. Like as soon as someone crosses her, then like they're dead. We saw it with Tyson already this season. We saw her kind of lash out at Tony in Winners at War at a point. So she's a very controlling figure, which makes her a good player in some ways, but very hard to root for and work with for other players.
I mean, she's self-interested. So like for her own self, I guess her gameplay is good because she has used that strategy to get to the end and win Survivor. So good on you for that. It's not translating to this show for me to be rooting for her in any sort of way, unfortunately. So Angela wins her heat with Cash. Danny and David are up next, and we get our first Kiki confessional this episode where he says that there's nothing Kiki wants more than the moolah. And so I'm wondering if like Danny was going to be going down at this episode or something like that. And someone in the chat was talking about that the matchup should have been Danny and it's right here. So Danita says should have been Danny and Enzo, or at least Dom. Leo has proven himself enough and it wasn't a fair fight. But Enzo has no money, and I think that that's what the issue was. I think Danny would have, like he did say, that once he saw especially what it was going to be, like he would have loved to do this hall brawl, but there's no point in putting yourself in danger, no point in potentially getting hurt. Like we've seen people break bones and have to go to the hospital, or sprain hands. Like we've seen people get hurt in hall brawls. And so is it worth it to go and get hurt just to like save Leo from elimination? Like, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I also think as kind of unfair as this matchup was, or as predetermined as this matchup was, if Danny volunteered to go in against Enzo, I mean, Enzo would have got absolutely crushed the same way Leo did, probably even worse.
Yeah.
So I don't think the matchup, either way was going to be pretty dominating for one player. So yeah, I don't blame Danny for not going in.
Taylor is saying the moment when the Love Island girls reminded Sarah that she was the only girl not qualified for the final was gold. I did love that moment because she's just kind of like, oh. You've been working on your Sarah impersonation? No, or was that Drew? Was it you or Drew? Maybe it was Drew. But do you have one, Matthew?
I don't.
No. Oh.
No,
Darn it.
I wish I could do it.
I could maybe practice. I haven't tried.
Yeah, I want to practice first.
We've had some good impersonations. Fanta used to do Melissa quite well, which was fun.
Yes.
Who'd you do, Josh?
I don't remember.
I think you did
now.
Josh. So Danny obviously won that heat. Justine versus Alyssa. Alyssa wins the heat. And so Angela, though, really wants to bond with Alyssa. She thinks that Alyssa is strong, thinks that Alyssa is trustworthy. Obviously, both being from Big Brother, that's also good to have somebody that you trust from like one of your shows. So how do you guys feel about Alyssa and Angela being the new duo?
Is it new? I swear,
or
they've been
like confirmed.
Yeah, maybe it's just because I've been seeing them hanging out off the show a bit. But yeah, I swear like they were working together well before this. But in the episode and in the edit, Angela did make it seem like, oh, I'm just talking to Alyssa about this now for the first time and just looping Alyssa in now. So I like them as a pair. I've been enjoying both Angela and Alyssa on the show. I think they're a pretty strong pair. I hope they both make it to the final. And I do worry a little bit that in the next couple of weeks, if Sarah does get into power, or if the Love Island girls get into power and Sarah's in their head, then one or both of them could wind up in an elimination, which would suck. So I could see it going that way, or I could just straight up seeing Angela and Alyssa both making it to the end and being a dominant pair.
I would love for them both to get to the end, but I don't think it seems that they must be putting this in to let us know that people are going to want to tear them apart. It just seems.
Yeah, I don't know. And then, I think they've been working together. I thought it was interesting the way Angela played this, because it was like she just laid it out to Ben and was like, this is what I want to do, and hadn't even confirmed with Alyssa, which she's just taking control, which is, I think, what people do more in the challenge than a show like, say, Big Brother or Survivor, where it's like, you didn't tell me your plan. Like, that's sus to me. Like, I would be like, what? Is that really what you said to them? Like, it's just weird to me that they wouldn't have had a pre-discussion.
They probably did, though.
But they probably had some sort of pre-discussion.
They probably are on a game level, have spoken, and are basically like, whatever we can do to protect each other, do it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting that she went out of her way to be like, but you have to make sure you wouldn't put in Alyssa. Like, she adds her in. I'm like, that's a lot to lay on the line to someone like Ben, who you know is close with Sarah, because if Sarah goes into elimination, out of the options, Alyssa's definitely an option if it's something like a hall brawl, pole wrestle vibes, because she's larger than her.
Isn't like an even and fair matchup.
Exactly. And so I think that it was risky for her. Like, when she started saying it, I was like, what are you doing? Like, he's obviously not going to go for this. This would be stupid for him. This ruins his relationships with Desi and Sarah. Like, that should be his focus. And then he just went along with it. And I was like, oh, everyone's just going along with this plan. I mean, I'm happy about it, but I am surprised.
So before we got to that part, we were still at the daily, and we do see Leo go, and Leo was super duper fast, and so Tyson is nervous, and everybody's pointing out like, "Ooh, like Tyson is not the fastest here," and Tyson's nervous. And we see Desi go, and Desi kind of overshoots the jump, and she DQs, which was like, I mean, I wish it wasn't a DQ. I wish you could get back on and try again. Like, I don't know. I don't really love when something like that DQs you just from like overshooting a jump, but that's their rules. We learned that Enzo comes in last, and the winners are going to be, for the women, are between Sarah and Angela. So I thought that was hilarious because like Sarah was just in her confessionals was talking about how like Angela hasn't proven herself, but Angela has a lot of money. Sarah, you got none. And then Angela does still pull out the win, even though they were separated by a few seconds. Angela was just a few seconds better than Sarah. So that was very satisfying. And her face just went like, next up, though, were the men. And so the fastest men were Leo, which was really surprising to everybody. And I think a lot of people did think that Leo might have won that. But in turn, it was Ben who won this daily. So Ben and Angela will be getting us some points for me and Michelle. Woo, 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 woo. Ben's finally getting me some points. Jesus, like I have someone on my team that I can't stand, and he's not even getting me any points until today. Like episode 8, so annoying. So at the deliberation, I did find Enzo was a little bit funny. He's talking about his stitches, and he's like, "Oh, I got 2 or 3." Say 3.
Yeah, 3 sounds cooler. I like
3
that.
Stitches. 2. But he basically just tells him like, "Hey, I want to go against somebody that I can beat and that I can win their money." So that's kind of all that Enzo really gave them. And I think for Angela, she wants the guys in there to be strong. So if she could take out one of these weaker guys, I'm sure that she's fine with it. And so I know a lot of people think that Leo shouldn't even be considered because he's proven himself a couple times now. Not on the challenge. Like, if you don't want to run the final with him, you kind of have to compete to stay in, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, and like, I guess I feel bad for Leo in this position, but I also feel like, you know, other people in the challenge who have had to go in time and time again, like Jay, that were like, "Oh, this is so unfair. Like, he should have more of a chance." And I think the difference for me is that Leo's social game, which is a huge part of the challenge, is just not up to par. And like, yes, being a smaller guy, he's at risk all the time anyway. So like, he doesn't have a lot of stuff in his favor, but I feel like there's more he could have tried to do.
Yeah, he could have gotten himself out of this because he should have realized that he would have been a prime target for somebody to take the money from. He's proven himself in eliminations, but he hasn't proven himself in dailies, and he's small.
Like what he could have. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just saying what he could have done is talk to Ben, talk to Tyson, like repaired things with Tyson, and talk to these people in power and said, "Listen, whatever the girls say, sure, they have their game. Don't you want to go against me in the final?"
Exactly.
Because clearly, look at what I've done. Look at my game. Like, he needs to put his ego aside and be like, clearly I'm not a contender to win. So why would you not bring me further?
Exactly.
I will, if I happen to win again, I will protect you as well. But like, also like, have me in the end and you can beat me, right? Like if he played that up a little bit, maybe that could have convinced some people. Like, you know, I don't know.
Try something. He didn't
try something. Try something.
Oh, that we saw anyways.
Yeah, you know what? True.
So this is where we see the scene where Angela wants to get closer to Ben. I mean, it is an opportunity for them to strategize together for the first time, both being in power here. She wants to make a deal with him, as you kind of mentioned. And this also kind of frustrated me about Ben, and I guess him not really getting the challenge and the dynamics of the game, because he was like, when Angela proposed that she wanted to work with the guys of Survivor, but not the women, like, doesn't he realize that all women can't work together if you're trying, like Sarah's not going to necessarily want to work with Angela because she thinks that Angela would be a tough component to beat. And so it just is interesting that he doesn't understand that having strong women working with him is good for his game. Like, it doesn't really, like, the fact that it rubbed him the wrong way that they didn't want to bring in Sarah and Desi. And I was like, but why though? They definitely don't want to be going against each other in the final, but she wants to work with you guys in the final. You're like,
yeah,
no
I
comment.
thought it was interesting. Like, yeah, it like clearly, but also like he should have been like, this is a red flag. If he really, you know what I mean? Oh, like, but instead, I think he's seeing that Angela is such a person he wants in the end to work with, and this is a great plan. So I think he recognizes that Sarah hasn't won anything,
and like being with the stronger partners, like including himself, they didn't get the win. And so it could be kind of a case of Fessy and Casey type situation where it's like, oh, we're the two strongest people, we're going to run this final and win easily, and then it doesn't happen. I could see something very similar happening with Ben and Sarah, like them thinking that they're going to be the best in the final as a duo and them not actually being a good duo in this game.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that as well, where, I mean, we're getting like these cocky edits from the two of them, primarily Sarah. I could see them getting humbled in the final together, which would be super satisfying to watch. So that would be great. I definitely think that's a pretty likely scenario at this point. I mean, with likely only one male elimination left and 2 female eliminations left, I mean, we have to assume Danny is either going to win the daily or go into elimination. So I think Ben is pretty safe right now. And Sarah ultimately will have an opportunity at the very least. So yeah, I could see that.
So would it be next week, I would assume, would be Sarah's opportunity, because that would be a women's elimination. And then the week after is going to have to be both male, female, I'm assuming. And then it'll be into the final. So I guess this works out, but like I agree with you, Matthew. Maybe they should have gone to individual games a little bit sooner and have both male and female on the day, because I think I agree it would be more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. If we had say 3 weeks of double eliminations but an individual game, I think that would have been perfect. Especially with like these classic eliminations, like we're gonna get pole wrestle, I guess, next week with the women.
That's gonna be
that'll be fun, and there's a lot of good options. Honestly, I think the women left are just much stronger than the men anyways, so no matter how you
minus Sarah.
But no Sarah in a pole wrestle,
I know I'm just being facetious,
but yes,
I think we have a lot of potential for a strong matchup next week. And even if it's not like necessarily like 2 heavy hitters, there's at least going to be a solid shot at a big move being made. So next week, I think, is going to be much stronger than this week in terms of how things play out. This one was kind of a cop out, and we lucked into we were unlucky to get into a bad situation here.
Yes. So Ben tells Dom about this plan. Angela tells Alyssa about the plan. Tyson tells Danny about this plan. So everybody's kind of on this plan that Alyssa and Angela are going to be working with the men of Survivor. And I mean, just secure yourself. I'd definitely say yes to that plan and then do whatever I wanted to do. Like if they're in power, like they said, they will protect you. And if you're in power, you choose whether or not you're going to honor this agreement. It's just so strange that Ben was just so like he was so cagey about it. It's like, this is how you play this game. Anyways, Ben.
Yes, this is a really good deal for Angela and Alyssa for 2 reasons. I mean, one, they're being protected by the majority of the men, but also they're not making this agreement with any other women, so it doesn't really matter to them as much. Whereas if Ben were to break this deal next week and throw Angela or Alyssa in, they're like, he's the one that's breaking the deal. Like there's no opportunity for Angela and Alyssa to do that, because next week it's going to be a female elimination. So I think for them, it's a very strong deal, and they can throw in Sarah the next women's elimination. But is Ben really going to throw in Sarah or Desi or put them at risk? Like, no way. So he's going to be the one that's breaking the deal over anyone else. And
which is good. It gives them a target if necessary. Like, well, like, I thought we had a deal here and you broke it. That's kind of like, no, we're not Survivor Strong anymore because I thought we were all agreeing to this or whatever. But
I mean, Angela and Alyssa are both, they're either sitting pretty or they're getting betrayed by someone, and then half the house is going to be against that person that betrays them. So really like the deal for them and the situation they're in.
But I also think, though, that it could be putting a target on them, right? So if Ben goes and starts yapping to Sarah about this whole plan, and Sarah gets like all irritated because she can't stand Angela because Angela is just proving to be better at her at this game so far, physically anyways, I could see Sarah being upset about it and getting some revenge. So I do worry that they kind of painted themselves as a duo a little bit, because what do? You want to break duos apart, especially if you don't like them, especially. So David says he always prepares mentally to go in. So David, I was like, I mean, he's got some money, and that would have been, as we were talking about earlier, a good matchup, like dramatically being like, okay, they're friends going in and money is on the line here. A little bit more interesting, I'd say. And Enzo would have beaten David as well. Did we say yes?
I don't know. I think I would probably put my money on Enzo just for sheer like drive in the moment and like momentum and like whatever. But I wouldn't count David out the way I counted Leo out. Like David is a bit bigger and seems like he's been, he's in pretty decent shape this season. So I wouldn't count him out, especially with Enzo being a little bit injured. And I think Enzo would have been a little bit more apprehensive going in against David. So it would have kind of given him a little bit of an edge, perhaps.
That's true. He might not want to hurt his friend. But he does say, though, I want to go through you. So that could have maybe turned on still too. So we got a lame club scene. Like we've been saying, like, hey, they've been going to the club every episode, but like we don't get any club scene except for one like episode, like 2 or 1. So we finally get a club scene, and we do see Ben makes a toast to his friend Blake. And I think the only scene that I wrote down anyways was Leo talking to Angela. Did anything else happen?
Yeah, no, I mean, very uneventful. So yeah,
I forgot he did that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a nice moment, but I mean, I think the one problem with the US version is there's not enough people on the cast that are like bringing any sort of messiness. Like there is like a little bit of drama. Maybe there's more
noodles in the face. Come on.
Yeah, like, we're not seeing any like drunken fights. We're not seeing any hookups. I think one thing and maybe we just got a little unlucky with the Love Island men at least leaving pretty early. But one thing I would like to see in a potential season 2 is a little bit more messiness on the cast, because I guess now we know why they're not showing the club scenes. There's probably not too much to show. I mean, the first episode we got them like grinding up on the table,
but all the Love Island people were still there.
Yeah, and I mean, are they just going to show that exact same thing every week? So let's add a couple messy people next season, and we'll enjoy those club scenes a little bit more.
Yes, I hope they bring up the mess factor, but like this is supposed to be like the 5th sport. So maybe like they want people a little more taking this more seriously. I don't know. So we see Enzo is really worried that, because of the fact that he has stitches, that he's not going to be able to do well in the elimination. And I was just like, that it annoyed me that like he was already kind of checking out. And I'm like, really? Like you're already giving yourself an out here? Like it's a few damn stitches. Like, I don't know if I'm just tough, but like, I think I've broken toes and I just have like didn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I just feel pain or I just haven't been hurt badly enough. But if I had a few stitches, I really don't think that it would have stopped me from an elimination. And I'm not even like a tough person.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a flashback to I can't remember the season, but that guy Chet when he like cut his cheek.
Oh yeah.
He refused to go back in and do balls out, and everyone was chirping him. I think TJ was making fun of him. It's like, yeah, my face is more important. I'm like, dude, you got a little cut. You're wearing a helmet. You'll be fine. You have a mask on. So yeah, it was giving me a little bit of flashbacks of that. But I'm glad to see Enzo gutted this one out with his 3 stitches.
And then we have the most asinine moment of the episode. Sarah wanting to prove herself by going in against Enzo. She doesn't care who she's going to go in against. She'll go in against him and come back and win, because even if he doesn't have any money, it doesn't matter. Like, this move would be epic. I think they were still at the club actually at this point, because she was talking with Desi and Cayla about this, and they're like, yeah, look, yeah, you should do that, yeah. And I'm like, guys, like, it's such a dumb move.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt. I just do we have Danny McRae in the chat?
Bro, I'm not down at the bottom. Hold on.
We've got a comment from a Danny McRae. I'm not sure if it's the real.
No, I don't believe it.
But if so, we love you and
Hold
Kiki.
on. We do. There was another Kiki moment that we'll talk about in like a second. I don't see it yet. Oh, there. Maybe. Hi, Danny. If it's you, Danny, that's
not sure what
fun.
he's refonting there, but
same
nice
here. So they're probably talking about something that I haven't gotten to yet on the chat. Well, that's fun, Danny. Would you?
We wish you were in the hall, bro.
Right?
But not silly. Against Enzo. It just would have made me sad. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd want to see Danny go against. Out of the people left.
I just want to see him go against Fessy. So
yeah,
let's
that's
get him
what
on the main show.
Want. I really want him to go against Fessy. Like, that's a dream for me. That's a dream.
So I definitely want to see Danny go in and win in a hall brawl. This season, I don't know who I'd want him to go in against. I don't want him to go in against Tyson.
This season, no one measures up to him in a hall brawl situation, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Cinco maybe. Cinco back when, right? Like,
yeah,
but I still would have. Yeah, I still would put my money on Danny. But...
Yeah, he's a professional athlete, football player. I think Cinco might have played the college football, but Danny's gonna smoke them all. And I do also think Danny would smoke Fessy, and I would just love to see it. So yeah, let's get Danny and Kiki over to the main show, and we'll make that happen.
We've still been talking about bloodlines. Would be so good. Exactly. Danny versus CT. I think Danny would still win. He's probably he's 8 years younger than CT as well. And so
I mean, that would be hard because CT has so much more experience specifically with the hall brawl. But
how many hall brawls has he actually been in though? CT hasn't been in that many.
I think he only did the T-Bone one against Bananas and Tyler, which is kind of a hall brawl.
No, he had another one against someone. I forget, but I don't think it was like a tough competitor. But I just think that like there's something to do with experience of the challenge and being in an elimination and all of that. But then you're right. Like Danny's done that kind of stuff a lot. So I don't know. I'd probably put my money on Danny because he's probably in better shape for it right now.
And is used to that as like a drill. Like he probably does hall brawls for fun. Not my idea of fun at all. So apparently Sarah's idea for fun. So Danielle here says that she doesn't think that Sarah would have been allowed to go down.
Of course not. Of course. The moment she said it, I was like, what? And like it's never been done in challenge history. Yeah, for a reason. For a reason, especially in a hall brawl. If it was like a puzzle thing where they didn't have to combat, I could see the argument for it. And I still think TJ would have said no. But like, I could see the argument. But a hall brawl, and you wouldn't have beat Enzo. But also Enzo wouldn't have been comfortable to go against her. Like, I think Enzo would have been like, what? Like, this is not.
That's true. That's not fair, actually. About this.
I don't think it's fair.
It would have put everyone in a horrible spot. I mean, also... I mean, the show would never allow it. Like, there's liability. Like, they're liable. So any sort of injury, like that could be massive there. It also screws up the format moving forward because there's going to be uneven genders. And then next week when it's a women's elimination, what's to stop Danny from then saying, "Oh, well, I'll just go into elimination." Right. So it would just never happen. It's and I think Sarah knew it would never happen, and she was kind of just
showboating, just be like, "Yeah, I'm so tough. I wouldn't even offer to go. I'm not even going to pack. I'm not even going to pack." Like Sarah is so silly. So we get to the elimination, and Ben is just like, "It's better for you to be here. I'm not going to throw Sarah in. Instead, I'm going to throw down Leo. So Leo does have to go into this elimination, this hall brawl against Enzo. I didn't enjoy this hall brawl at all. I mean, and I haven't been enjoying them recently just because they're not evenly matched at all. I know TJ says this is my favorite elimination or one of my favorite eliminations, but they haven't been good in a while. When was the last good hall brawl that we've had?
Yeah, I mean, they're only good in the perfect situation. I mean, like honestly, like the most intriguing one of the past few years is probably yeah, I don't know if it's actually Danny.
It's not Danny, but whatever, it's fine. We love Danny anyway. We love a fake Danny. Or
yeah, the most intriguing hall brawl I can like is probably Nelson against Fessy. Like even though Fessy won pretty dominantly, at least there was some intrigue there.
I would
Fessy
say
Rogan.
The last good one we saw was probably, in terms of like evenly matched and shocking, was Tori versus Jenny, because it was so
that was
obvious
so
Jenny was going to win, and Tori did it. There's something to be said about that grit that you need, that extra thing that gets you through. And that was like two women who were like decently matched in size. Jenny has a bit more muscle on her, and Tori was able to get the win. And like, to me, not even being a stand for either of them, I quite enjoyed that hall brawl. So like, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I don't remember Rogan versus Nelson on Total Madness.
Rogan, that was when Nelson volunteered to save Corey.
Save Corey.
That was a good one.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Rogan, he's on my bad list.
Yeah. we need to do a poll. Like, would you rather Rogan or Fessy?
Also, the
I don't know.
Jenny just absolutely smoking D was like very fun to watch. In not close, but it was very fun to watch.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, of course, because that was we don't speak of D.
Outside circumstances.
Yeah.
Sorry. So Danita was asking Danny, who would you want to go up against in a Hall Brawl, USA or MTV Cast? And Danny says, no one. I've done it my whole life, but I would win.
Yeah. So there's a football drill that they do in like training camp called an Oklahoma drill, where I'm pretty sure how it works is you're just lying on the ground and you get up and just run headfirst into each other and like very in a very small space. And that's what they're doing every day for 60, 90 days at a time. So yeah, I agree with Danny. If that's Danny, he's done it his whole life. He would win against anyone.
So funny. We don't know if it's you or not, Danny, which is hilarious.
You know what? I'm going to say it is, because he's listened to other podcasts, right? So we know that.
And he shouted us out before.
Yeah, I just don't know if Kiki's letting him stay up this late watching. Although I don't know what coast he's on.
The one where Kyle broke his finger was decent, but now I don't want to see Fessy do well.
It's not decent when Fessy wins a hall brawl. Like, can we not? If Fessy had to go against Danny, CT, even like, I don't know, Cinco, sorry, like Zach,
even Rogan, maybe, Zach,
but like Rogan, who's done it. Like, let's see him against someone his size or someone who has that, you know, and see what he can do, because that's, to me, that's just not. It's annoying that that's two of his elimination wins is hall brawls.
Yeah, I mean, what we really should see, I don't know if you two watched the Champs vs. Stars, but we got to see Danny against Terrell Owens. That's that's what the people want to see.
I do want to see that.
They may have played in the NFL together, so
I would love to see that. That would be a good matchup for sure.
Yeah.
So Danny says that he doesn't have anyone in mind, but he is confident that he'd be just fine.
Yeah,
he'd do just fine. All right, so I'm starting to believe this could be the real Danny.
I think it is Danny.
But I know you give us a shout out. No, I don't know though. I said it first. Well, we love if you're here. We love it if you're watching it after and you're seeing someone catfishes you. That's hilarious as well. Obviously, we appreciate anybody that watches our recaps, because we do it for people that love the show as much as we do. So if it is you, Danny, thank you for being here. And if you're watching later, thank you for watching. So even though I'm still like,
that would be funnier actually if it wasn't him, and then
it wasn't him and he watches.
And like, jeez,
that's not me. So Leo doesn't win the hall brawl against Enzo. We didn't really expect him to win at all. It was kind of like a little bit of a womp womp letdown. I kind of wanted to see him go further, but like you said, he didn't try that hard.
Yeah,
But, like,
you could tell on his face
out.
he was very defeated before it started, and you could really tell just by looking at him. And it's like,
how could you not?
Do we really have to watch this?
Do we really have to watch this? Like, and then at the end he just leaves, and he's just like, no one has my back, and he was so close to even winning. Like, it's not like he has proven himself in things. I don't think it means he deserves to not be in the elimination. Like, you know, like, but it did make me sad, especially after what we saw last week and the restaurant.
He didn't want to go out and say bye to people. And I was like, oh, just say bye to the people. Just say bye to the people.
It was sad. Yeah.
Really sad.
I feel sad for him. Yeah. Hopefully they'll bring him back. He deserves another chance at some point. I don't know.
I don't know if they're going to bring him back,
some entertainment. I don't know if they would. Maybe he'd be a backup or something. But like, I appreciated his energy sometimes, and you know, he did win win a daily, right? Yeah, and he won 2 eliminations, like very impressive. You know, he did some impressive things. We can't deny that. But Enzo was Ben being friends with Enzo. Also, they set that up of Ben being like, I just love Enzo so much.
Oh, that's true.
He was never going to give Enzo someone that he couldn't beat. And everyone else, there's a what if factor. But with Leo, he's just half his size. Oh, I'm just going to move around him. Like, it was just never going to happen.
Yeah, and I think one of the two of you had alluded to it earlier, but with Jay, when he was just getting thrown into elimination after elimination, you kind of see that frequently where there are these players that are capable, very capable in certain aspects. Like Leo was proven to be good with kind of thinking on the fly in other eliminations, but when these smaller guys just get thrown in time after time, eventually they're going to get something physical and then they're just screwed. So, I mean, we kind of saw that happen here tonight. We saw it happen with Jay. I mean, it's just the smaller players tend to be thought of as targets, and then you just get unlucky. You get in a hall brawl, and that's the game.
Well, and also, though, you got to put in some work. We saw in the first few episodes that James was in trouble and he put in some work strategically. And we didn't see Leo put in any work strategically. And unfortunately, it's a game where size matters sometimes, but also being good with the numbers, being good with the power, making deals with the power, something can help keep you out of elimination. And he didn't really, from what we saw, put in that work.
And I mean, like, James also unfortunately lost multiple dailies and had to go in. It wasn't like he got voted in all these times, right? So that's the other thing, is Leo got voted in even though he did well. And he's a winner. Like, it sucks that he wasn't able to maybe make up with Tyson in some way. And
he should have, though. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, he didn't strategically set himself up to not be the person that people felt comfortable with throwing in. Like they were like, I don't really have anything going on with him. He's not really that strong. It's fine. I'm not worried about him coming to retaliate. And so he didn't put himself in a better position, in my opinion, to make people not want to throw him down. Like even Enzo making Ben laugh and being a friend to Ben, that helped him get who he wanted down in the elimination.
So, Enzo's social game is decent. Like, he's good at having these chill, good vibes with people, especially with some of the guys, and like building these types of bonds, like that bond he has with David too, so randomly, and like all these different bonds. Like, I feel like he seems pretty good at that stuff. So definitely worked to his favor this week.
Yeah, I think the problem for Enzo right now is just that if there is another male elimination and it's not a purge, like he's going to be the heavy favorite to come in last place again. Just looking at the men left there.
Him or David is what I have my money on losing next time. Or
Yeah, I would say that's probably the case now that Leo's gone, especially. I mean, it's probably Enzo at the bottom and David just a little bit ahead of him there. So going to be a tough, and then even if Enzo does kind of make it through to the final, he's probably looking at last place there.
Yeah, and the other thing is like, because next week's female, if say Danny wins next week and gets his money, he's going to just try to avoid the elimination altogether. But if he doesn't win next week, he's going in that final whatever purge elimination, whatever. He's going to go in. He has to go in. And that's scary for everybody. So like I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen there. But
well, how many people don't have enough money to qualify is the question. Oh, and Danny's also responding to the Trell comment that he retired when he played. So they definitely didn't have an opportunity to play together.
It's literally it's Danny
and Sarah, that's it.
And Sarah, and that's it, because Enzo was the other person.
And Ben. Ben was
and now they both have money.
So Sarah's literally the only person that isn't qualified?
Yeah.
And Danny.
Lulz. Oh, Danny, sorry.
Yeah.
Lulz, though. That's really
But Danny
funny.
will get his in the next elimination. That means Sarah is going to go in. Like, she's going in next week for sure. Unless she wins the elimination.
So essentially, Danny and Sarah...
unless she wins the daily. Sorry.
Yeah, Danny and Sarah will have 3 opportunities to win 1 challenge, because they'll both have 2 dailies and 1 opportunity at an elimination. So, yeah, I mean, Danny and Sarah, 3 ops to win once, which I think is pretty doable.
Pretty good
for
odds.
the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of wish, though, that, like, if you have to go down and qualify, there's, like, a cutoff point. Because we've said with, like, the skulls and the gold skulls that, like, there was never a cutoff point. You knew that you were going to be able to qualify no matter what. I do wish that they, like... They're like, sorry, man, you didn't qualify. Like, you're out. Like,
yeah, that would be amazing if it like got down to the end and like Sarah's volunteering to go in and Angela's just like, no, fuck you. You're going home. I'm not letting you go in. I'm sending in
that would be amazing.
Cayla or Cashay or whoever. That would be awesome.
I would love if she's yeah, but I think that the way they're gonna run it with the purge situation, they're gonna make it so that everyone has the opportunity to make the money, I think, is what's going to end up happening probably.
Yeah, I could see that. I was a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and they made a really good point where they said that because this is not the MTV version, the cast actually is pretty. Like, they're incentivized to block someone from the elimination. Because they're not going to be playing with all these people for the next 5 years. There's a chance that none of these people ever play again. Like, probably a small chance. Most a chunk of them will play, but I mean, is someone like Domenick going to be playing for the next 5 years?
No,
I doubt it. He might never play again. Like someone
he seems kind of not into it.
Yeah.
As much.
Well, and
a lot of these
also
people could just block them out.
They're not going to do the whole, like, let's build in a storyline for, like, next season that, like, the new players on MTV seem to want to do. So, yeah, I do like the fact that,
I like that better.
That they're just going to go and play, and, like, they're not worried about their enemies and, like, if it's going to affect them in the game in future seasons. Like, I definitely prefer this version for that reason as well. I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in the MTV version, like, when they did the skulls, and it's like, week after week, they're just planning who's going to go in to get the skull. So it's like Corey's volunteering, then Nelson, then Bananas. It's like it was so boring. So now it's like, because they're not just going to come back the next year and play with each other.
It's like
might as well.
All right, I don't want to run against you, so I'm going to try to stop you from going down.
Yeah, stab some backs. It's more fun.
Exactly. And like CT was worried about that one season that like they were gonna actually block him out, and he did end up getting to go down and get a skull, and I think he probably won that season. So yeah, they could have done it to him probably, but I don't know if this show actually would have allowed him to not be able to get a skull. Before we close out, we did get a second Kiki mention here when we're talking about Hall Brawl. And so apparently Kiki and Danny watch Hall Brawls. And so I do wonder, Danny, how many seasons of the challenge have you watched? Are you been a fan from a long time? Did you watch Real World, Road Rules? Like, what's the tea on your challenge knowledge and history? We would love to know. So I think that's pretty much it for the episode. Was there anything else that happened that we didn't talk about yet?
Nothing besides MVP, I don't think. Also, yeah, for the next week, it showed what I think is like a Sarah v. Angela situation. Don't know how that's actually going to shake out, but it also looks like the daily is going to be a mini challenge vibe, kind of.
Mini final?
Like it showed them running, like a mini final, sorry. Like showed them running, and there was different elements. So that makes me excited. And so yeah, hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah, the preview made it seem like it was going to be Alyssa and Angela versus all the rest of the women.
Yeah.
So, but the nice thing is, unless one of Alyssa or Angela come in last, they won't go in against each other. So I wouldn't necessarily say like Angela and Alyssa are screwed if they don't win the daily.
Do you think that potentially, like, maybe Ben's offended and loses the daily for his partner if he's partnered up with, say, Alyssa or Angela, and make them lose? Do you think that would be something that he would do?
Well, there won't be partners, right? It'll be individual.
No, I don't think they'll be able to do that necessarily. I just think that if Sarah wins the daily, she'll definitely be gunning for one of them. But my hope is that neither of them will lose the daily. So at least it's just one of them going into the elimination. So there's a higher chance that they'll both still be in it.
So who are we giving MVP to?
I think it should go to Angela, not just because she's on my team and my only person left really besides Dom, but also because she won the daily. She made some big moves strategically, which I didn't think were going to land, and everyone seemed to want to do it. So I think that's impressive to me. And also there wasn't really anybody else that I felt. I guess you can make an argument for Ben if you want. I'll hear it, but
Danny says I watched The Real World and Rose Ruled. Long time fan.
Yes!
Okay, loves that. That's awesome. We were longtime fans as well. So love to hear it because I love that I've watched like the whole progression of the challenge. And so I love anybody that's been on that journey with me. So that's awesome. Do you have a person for MVP, Matthew?
Yeah, for me, I think it's definitely Angela. I think it really has to be her or Ben here. They were the two focal points. And to me, I just think the actual like strategic move and the alliance that they created, whether real or not, is just way more beneficial to Angela than Ben. And I mean, 3 wins now. She clowned Sarah multiple times throughout the episode. So yeah, definitely
when she was like,
big Angela episode.
When she's like, you should maybe just focus on winning a daily challenge. And she just said it's
amazing.
so dry. Her delivery is just so dry. I'm obsessed.
I mean, 2 against. I don't have another person. I think that Angela definitely showed to be, a competitor. Like, the fact that Sarah is like, oh, she hasn't proven herself, and it's like, well, what do you want her to do? Is it just because she hasn't gone down into an elimination? Okay, we've said that before, that we've not counted people as, proving themselves without going down in elimination and coming back. But she's won so many dailies that to me, that shows that she's super well-rounded, and that if she did go into elimination, I trust that she would come back almost every time.
And I'm not putting her up as a legend or anything yet. Like, I do want eventually at some point, if it's not this season, another season, like see her do well in elimination and see her do well in final. But at the end of the day, she hasn't done anything to not prove it. But like, she's definitely proven herself to be a better competitor than Sarah by a long shot. So
yeah,
I'll take that for now.
I can't remember what happened, but Justine had a confessional that had me worried. I don't think I wrote down what she said. Did you write it down by chance, Matthew? She said something
for the next on.
Yeah,
it might have been
right
on the
at the
next
end.
Oh wait, here it is. Justine.
Also, can we take a moment for Justine's pants at the club scene? Those like flared. They were like flared, like chrome. They were amazing. It was amazing, Luke.
Yeah, Justine mentioned something right before the preview. It was like the closing confessional, which was a little worrisome. So I wonder if maybe she's going to be the one going into elimination next week against potentially Angela or Alyssa or Sarah.
No, I really want her to be in the final. Like, I really want her to have that opportunity. I can't read my writing. It says Justine said something. Was something. I can't read my writing. I wrote it in a tiny little square. So I guess we'll never know, or we'll find out next week.
Yeah, we'll find out next week.
Find out.
She's
soon.
definitely
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. No,
I was just gonna say one thing I wanted to note, which I thought was fun, was listening to Mark Long's podcast with
TJ.
TJ was on this week, and TJ was really hyping up the next season of the challenge, 38, saying that it's one of his favorite seasons ever, with an amazing final. So that was exciting. And then he also Mark asked him about Tyson. Yeah, so Mark asked him about Tyson, and Mark basically told TJ, "Oh, Tyson said he could beat 90% of the OG challengers," and TJ said, "I think 90% is generous. He's being generous there, and Tyson's a beast." So TJ super high on Tyson, and love to see it.
It's hard to not be. It's really hard to not be. He has the full package, and I listened to him on Bananas podcast. Really, the only reason I would listen to Bananas podcast, and I enjoyed it. And it was like he really does have that Wes quality. In terms of like the mischievousness, but you love it.
Yeah, they chirp each other, and it's fine.
He knows how to play it on TV. Like he knows what to say to come across in the right way. While still being conniving, but he doesn't come across. He was villainous in his first season of Survivor, but like he moved past that. We've all seen his like journey. So yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that podcast as well, and like I love like how they don't take each other seriously, and like Johnny's like poking at Tyson's poking, like they're just like I thought it was very entertaining, and I would love to see them on a show of some sort together. Would they work together? Would they try and then start stabbing each other in the back? Like I think it would be the game that we like to play, to see played with these two like really strong competitors. So I hope that they end up on a season of something together. I think it could be fun. It might be snake in the grass.
But I think it's going to be the World Cup, World Cup tournament or whatever it's
open
called.
to everyone, not just USA people. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where we get like Bananas, CT, Wes, Darrell. I think they're going to get the legends, and then also the international and US people.
But they're only allowed to have like 4 people, no, or 8 people. No,
who knows what they'll do, right?
That's true.
Like,
they'll favor it to them
because they're obviously going to favor. And like I could see them. What if they use 38 as a jumping off point for it, or what if like to be like whoever wins this also gets to join this World Cup, because we can't do it without our classic OG version, or like they could throw that in if they chose to. Because say Bananas win, like whatever. We'll see what happens.
And then that's where we could see the potential Danny McRae versus CT Hall brawl.
Yeah.
So
we would hope that they wouldn't be going against each other.
Yeah. Well, we got to get Danny qualified first.
Danny,
true.
Like you get your money next week so that you don't have to go into Elimination.
Not next week. It's the week after. The week after,
but he still gets his money next
win.
week.
He could still
win that daily.
Fair.
Win that daily. Yeah.
Well, it's been a blast. Thank you for being here, everybody in the chat. Danny, if that's you, thank you for stopping by. If you ever want to pop in and actually be part of this conversation, just let me know and I'll send you over a link and we can talk live and in person. That would be super fun and awesome if you could do that. You guys working on anything that you want to share with the people in the chat and who's watching after?
Just having a lot of fun with the challenge, Love Island, and Big Brother, and that's about it.
Good TV right now. Good summer TV.
I've been pretty on to the whole Big Brother. Like I've been on the on the updates and everything, and oh man, this week there's just so many things. I'm like, there's some really terrible gameplay going on and some good gameplay. But I have to say, I do like that I don't know what's going to happen next. Like that it's going to be crazy next week just because it really just depends on who wins power on Thursday.
V4.
Exactly. So I think that's interesting, but there's just so many people I dislike and like there's people I like. So it's not the worst. I'm enjoying the season, but some of them I find painful to watch in the episodes. So I almost prefer the feed updates.
I did the round table.
Oh, you did?
I did the round
I
table
haven't
last
watched that
night,
one yet.
and
Okay.
it was really hard because it was before we got the live feeds back. It's so like we were
Oh.
trying to speculate what was going on outside, and like then the live feeds outside came back, and we're trying to figure out like, okay, what's going on. So it's definitely, we still managed to talk for 2 hours, but I was getting in trouble for my rating of Joseph, and now I've been vindicated. So I'm happy because people were so angry.
I'm
with
assuming
me,
you
and
gave him like a 1 because literally so bad. Such
gave
bad
him a 2.
gameplay. Ugh, I'm so sad about it. Anyway.
Gave him a
That's
2. Well, thanks again, everyone. Please make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like this video. Can we get to like 100 likes? That'd be super awesome. Or more, sure. And leave a comment. Do we believe this was the real Danny McRae in the chat?
My vote
or
is yes.
not?
If
My
it's the
vote
real
is
Danny, if it's the real Danny, tweet out the link to this video.
Yes, please, 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 please. That'd be
I'm
awesome.
obsessed. I'm obsessed.
So yes, we'll see you guys.
And you're right. Sorry.
What?
I was gonna say you were right. That wasn't a twist. That was a lie.
That was a lie. Oh, that was
It
a
was a
lie.
lie.
I wish that we saw that tribal council. Like, I was
Oh,
so
man.
furious. I was covering that season, and I was so angry when that happened. So I would have been like with you. Like, I would have loved to see the live feeds for that tribal council after that hourglass flop.
Jesus.
But anyways, please leave a comment, like this video, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye. Thanks, everybody.